This week on the Brody File, he's a man on a mission. Senator Marco Rubio is pushing immigration reform to conservatives, and the Brody File sits down with him on Capitol Hill.
The piece that remains to be settled is, are we doing enough on the border?
Rubio also talks about the political fallout for him if immigration reform ends up becoming a problem down the road.
The day I start making decisions around here with the mind towards what other office I want to run for, I'll no longer be very effective.
Also, Caitlin Burke is here with her What the What segment. This week's topic, what's lurking beneath ObamaCare.
There are so many hidden policies that people don't know about, and it sounds so good. Also, should Christians drink Starbucks coffee?
I'm sorry, you got to find some other coffee to drink. You can't drink Starbucks and be biblically right on this thing. It's just a real simple principle.
Plus, right before our eyes, Chris Matthews turns into the Oy Vey moment of the week. Oy, the Brody File, next. And welcome everybody to another edition of the Brody File. You know, I got to tell you, we are really looking forward to this show because we have a big exclusive interview now. I know you're hoping it's Pat Boone, maybe Michael W. Smith. I am sorry, maybe next time, because no, folks, we have got Senator Marco Rubio with us. I mean, heck, this guy could be president of the United States in just a couple of years from now. But right now, he is a man on a mission, and that mission is passing a good, comprehensive immigration reform bill. All right, a little background first. First of all, Rubio, want to let you know this, he's a gang member. Now, no, not that type of gang member. We're talking about the Gang of Eight, you know, a group of 8 senators from both parties who have put this Senate bill together. So the question is, will it ultimately be palatable to Rubio and enough Democrats and Republicans? Now, as the Tea Party hero, Rubio's job is to sell this to diehard conservatives. He is the key to the whole thing. So the Brody File went in full stalking mode, and we found him on Capitol Hill. We actually strapped him to a chair and we put a microphone on him. Actually, we're embellishing. He actually did agree to do the interview. And so, without further ado, here is Marco Rubio on immigration reform. Has this been harder of a sell than you originally thought?
You know, the answer to it is yes and no. I mean, yeah, here's the no part. I think people are prepared to do something about the 11 million human beings that are in this country illegally. They understand these are real people. They violated the law, so there has to be consequences for that. But these are real human beings who have families and loved ones and hopes and dreams, and the vast majority of whom are here for the same reasons our parents and grandparents came. So that part of it, I think, has pretty well been debated. There's still some, discomfort with the notion that someone who's broken our laws would get to stay. But by and large, people say, look, if they have to pay fines, they have to wait in line, they have to start paying taxes, they have to undergo background checks. We should figure something out for them. The part that's still hard is the border security, because people are only willing to do what I've just described if we secure our borders and we make sure that there isn't another wave of illegal immigration in the future. And I think that's where we are right now in this debate, is can we do enough about border security so that people will support doing something about the 11 million? And that's what I'm focused on. That's what I'm working on trying to accomplish.
And let me ask you a little bit about, there have been conservatives that say, look, partnering with Schumer and Durbin and Menendez and all. I mean, the question is, do you trust these guys on immigration reform to make sure that they're an honest broker?
Well, the thing about legislating is it has to be in writing. I mean, at the end of the day, the bill is in writing, so it's not about trusting them. They obviously have a different constituency and some different principles in mind, but everything's been in writing. So we've put out a set of principles when we started this process. That's what I signed up for, those principles. And those principles were pretty clear. We were going to do something to accommodate the people that were here illegally, but we were going to secure the border. We were going to create a system to track people when they come in and when they leave. We were going to create a system to be able to verify that people are legally here before they get hired. That was agreed to, and that's in writing. And then we put out a bill that did a lot of that. And if you think about it, 96% of this bill is not controversial. The piece that remains to be settled is, are we doing enough on the border? And as we've introduced this bill as a starting point and we've worked on it, we've gone to my colleagues, and what they're saying is, look, we just don't think it's enough. We don't trust the administration, quite frankly, Republican or Democrat. We've been told this before, that they're going to secure the border, and that never happens. So they're prepared to provide certainty for the people that are here illegally, so long as we also provide certainty that the border is going to be secured. And that's the second part that we need to focus on. And it'll be in writing. It'll either happen or it won't.
What's the line in the sand for you? In other words, what is something like, look, if this isn't done within the bill, then it's not happening, in your mind?
Yeah, first of all, everyone who's involved in this process has lines in the sand.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, there's things that everybody involved in crafting this product would walk away from if it were to change. So I think that, you know, for me, if we start trading, let's say if we start weakening the guest worker program in exchange for stronger border security, I'm not interested in that horse trading. I don't have a problem dealing with this issue in one bill comprehensively, so long as the different subject areas are dealt with within those subject areas. We're not trading good policy for bad policy. But my other point, and I don't want to get into giving ultimatums and you know, about I'll walk away if this doesn't happen or that doesn't happen. I just want to say that I don't think this bill can become a law, which is our goal here. The goal here is not a talking point. The goal here is not to say we passed immigration reform out of the Senate. The goal here is to pass a change to our laws from the House, from the Senate, and have the President sign that reforms our legal immigration system, accommodates 11 million human beings who find themselves in a very difficult situation, most of whom want to become Americans and become fully invested in the American dream, and secure our borders so we never again have an illegal immigration problem in the future. If we have a bill that does those three things, I'll be very enthusiastic, and I want that to happen. If that doesn't happen, we just got to keep working. We can't give. I will never give up on the issue.
What about the argument that why not wait 2 more years, potentially have a Republican president, and have a whole different dynamic at that point?
Well, for a couple things. First of all, what do you do in the meantime with the 11 million people that are here now? I mean,
it's been going on for a while.
It has. So at some point, you've got to do something about it. Secondly, what we have now is hurting our country. We are. Aside from the illegal immigration problem, we need to recognize that America is involved in a global competition with other countries for business, but we're also involved in a competition for talent. So imagine for a moment if some kid from another country was playing college basketball and he was the best college basketball player in the country. There's no way in the world that we're ever going to let him leave. We're going to make him play in the NBA. We're not going to let him go play in an Italian league or some other league. Why would we do the same for our economy? For a top flight physicist, for a top flight scientist. You know, instead what's happening often is we are educating some of the world's brightest people. They're going to school here, they fall in love with America, they want to stay here, there are American businesses that want to hire them, but there's no way for them to stay and they have to leave. That makes absolutely no sense. We can't leave that in place. We also have a broken border system. You know, people say border crossings have declined because the economy isn't bad. If our economy, God willing, begins to recover, the same porous border is still in place. You're going to have another wave of illegal immigration. And then 2 years from now, we're going to be talking about 13 or 15 million people, not just 11. So that's why we can't wait. We've got to deal with this now. We see a problem. It's hurting America. We think we can solve it in a responsible way. We have an obligation to try.
I get it. I know that you're principled and I know you're serious about this issue. But what about, look, let me just bring it up. What about the political ramifications of this? If this thing goes down in flames and the conservatives start to turn against you if you decide to go further in your political aspirations, I mean, look, that's somewhat, if not a calculation on your part, it's a political reality of what could potentially happen.
Well, the day I start making decisions around here with the mind towards what other office I want to run for, I'll no longer be very effective. The bottom line is that I ran for the United States Senate to make a difference, to serve, to be able to look back 20 years from now and tell my kids, yes, I was gone a lot, but this is why. These are the things I was able to accomplish in the hopes of leaving you a better country. I also, quite frankly, look to my faith in that regard. My faith teaches me that, you know, all of us have been given opportunities in our life. They're blessings, and I've been blessed to be here and to do this. So my job is to honor that in the best way possible, to look at issues that I think I can make a big difference on and do the best I can. And then, you know, God has a plan for all of us. Whatever God's plan is fine. Whatever's going to happen on this issue, whatever's going to happen with me is what God's already planned for me. My job is just to be obedient and have faith in that regard. And that's really something I, you know, like everybody else, I struggle with that because the human side of us wants us to think about the here and now. But I think ultimately, if you try to approach every issue in life, from the smallest detail to a big issue like this, with that viewpoint, it gives you a sense of peace and calm about it you wouldn't otherwise have.
That is Marco Rubio here on the Brody File. You know, now this whole immigration reform debate has been fascinating to watch from a political perspective because you've got Rubio as pretty much the lone Tea Party senator supporting the bill and really pushing for it. And then you have other Tea Party stalwarts like Mike Lee, Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, and they're all raising quite a few objections to it. So it's especially interesting to watch Paul and Cruz go after the bill because both of them could be running for president in 2016 against Rubio. That's right, Tea Party on Tea Party. Oi, Gewalt. Here's a little bit of immigration reform criticism from Ted Cruz.
One of the reasons we see illegal immigration at the levels we do is because our legal immigration system is not working effectively. And I think we should all be champions of legal immigrants making the system work and not just welcoming but celebrating legal immigrants. I think if we are going to see an immigration reform bill pass, that should be the focus of the bill. I think if instead the bill includes elements that are deeply divisive, and I would note that I don't think there is any issue in this entire debate that is more divisive than a path to citizenship for those who are here illegally. In my view, any bill that insists upon that jeopardizes the likelihood of passing any immigration reform bill.
You know, we should point out that Rubio has argued all along that this bill does not provide amnesty because people who came here illegally aren't getting away with anything since they have to comply with a long list of qualifications before even the possibility of citizenship. That's Rubio's take, and he put it this way on Fox News.
This is not amnesty. Amnesty is the forgiveness of something. Amnesty is anything that says, do it illegally, it'll be cheaper and easier.
By the way, we should have an idea whether immigration reform passes Congress sometime in July. All right, when we come back, what is hidden inside Obamacare? Some interesting findings next.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
And welcome back to the Brody File. Time now for a segment on Obamacare. And I am sorry, conservatives, we do not have 800 hours for this segment. I know you want 800 hours, but let's start with this. In our interview with Senator Rubio, he says that he wants to get rid of Obamacare by passing a constitutional amendment that would ban any law that taxes Americans who don't buy a good or a service. You know, the new health care law does just that because the federal government will tax those who don't purchase health insurance. So here is more from Rubio on all of this.
If tomorrow the federal government decided every American must have a smartphone, and if you don't, we're going to tax you for not having a smartphone, they could do that under the logic of this ruling. So obviously health care is a much bigger issue. So we are basically filing a constitutional amendment which says that you can't do that the government cannot compel Americans to buy a service or a good by punishing them for not doing it.
Harder to get a constitutional amendment passed than repealing a bill, I would think, even though repealing a bill is very hard as well.
Well, I think Obamacare is going to be a disaster. It's going to hurt America's economy. Individual Americans are going to be outraged by what it means to them. In October, when seniors like my mom on Medicare Advantage get their benefits notice that their benefits have been reduced because of Obamacare, they're not going to be happy. Next January, when Americans get their benefits package from their existing insurance and find out how much more it costs, they're not going to be happy. This October, when people start sitting down with their tax planners for next year and decide they're going to move a bunch of employees to part-time and maybe lay a few people off to get under the 50 employee mandate, our economy is going to get hurt. When those things happen, people are going to be looking for solutions, and this one's going to be out there as a possible one.
All right, that's Marco Rubio here on the Brody File. You know, when it comes to Obamacare, there are a lot of items in there that Americans might not be too happy with. Well, that leads us perfectly into Caitlin Burke's segment that we call here on the Brody File, What the What? This week, Caitlin explores some of the hidden features of Obamacare, and she joins us now with more. Caitlin, I am sure that some of this had people shaking their heads going, what the what?
That's right, David. Obamacare is on the way, and Americans will be paying for it. We wanted to know if people knew what exactly their tax dollars would be funding. What the what was definitely our reaction, but we wanted to know theirs. Obamacare gives the executive branch up to $2 billion a year of additional spending that they can give to anything that increases healthy living or lowers the cost of health care. So that can be a Zumba class, or it can be a group that wants to raise taxes on people who drink soda.
I think that's ridiculous.
How come?
Because I think that's too broad amount of money and too broad a spectrum of what they can spend it on, and it's just wasteful spending.
I think there's enough waste already, and try to cut that out, but put the resources toward things that'll actually help.
So then there's also a lot of hidden taxes, and that can be on the medicines that you have to get from the doctor, anywhere towards going to a tanning bed, that there will be a 10% tax on that. What are your thoughts on the hidden taxes that could come along with it?
The fact that it's hidden is, it's devious to me.
There are so many hidden policies that people don't know about, and it sounds so good, but it's actually not good when we're seeing that the government is spending so much money, we're being taxed, and again, if I want to go to a tanning bed, I should not be taxed for that. It's my choice.
David, the Affordable Care Act is more than 2,000 pages long, and I think it probably goes without saying that we're going to be learning about what's in it for quite some time.
Caitlin, appreciate it once again this week. All right, when we come back, should Christians drink Starbucks coffee? Oh, we explain next.
Today we're on a field trip to discover what inflation is doing to our paper money. In this hand is a $20 bill, and in this hand is a $20 US gold coin. They used to have the same buying power, but how much can they buy today? In this first basket is what my $20 bill buys: milk, bread, peanut butter, and jelly. And here's what one $20 gold coin will buy: 6 baskets full, worth nearly $2,000, almost 100 times more food, simply by owning gold dollars instead of paper dollars. History shows that the gold coins have been the best way to beat the rising cost of living. So class, the moral is that unless you want to live on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in the future, you should turn some paper dollars into gold coins now. How and why is explained in a new book, The Great Debasement. Call the number below for a totally free copy. And that's the simple truth.
Help! If an emergency happened right now, you can have help at the push of a button with Medical Alert.
Remember when I took that fall, Mary?
Oh, yes, that was terrible.
Yes, it was. Help! And I thought, what if you hadn't been there? I ordered my Medical Alert the next day.
I can't describe how safe I feel now with my Medical Alert. You didn't know I was wearing it, did you?
Medical Alert is easy to install, waterproof, and covers you inside your home and out.
It helps me feel safe from fires, break-ins.
And of course, a Medical Alert. And if you don't have a home phone, don't worry. They have that covered.
There's always help at the push of a button. Don't wait till you need it.
Get Medical Alert for less than $1 a day. There are no long-term contracts. Order now and get your second button free. Call for your free brochure.
For your free Medical Alert system with second button free, call 800-575-8507.
And welcome back to the Brody File, everybody. All right, time for some evangelical news. So let's raise our hands. Someone get out a tambourine. Come on, because it's time for the evangelical app. We begin with news about Chad Connolly. You say, Who's Chad Connolly? Well, actually, he's the guy that the Republican National Committee has brought on to be the GOP's director of evangelical outreach. I mean, basically, he's going to be tasked with getting skeptical evangelicals on board and making sure he gets them organized for the midterms and the presidential elections. Connolly, by the way, is a Baptist, if you're checking at home, and he's from South Carolina, and he was chairman of the GOP party down there in the Palmetto State. Also making evangelical app headlines, Christian historian David Barton says Christians should not drink Starbucks coffee. Why? Well, because Starbucks supports gay marriage. Here's the video.
Starbucks is pouring all this money into destroying traditional marriage. The question is, can a Christian give money to a group he knows will use it to attack what God supports? If you know that when you buy a cup of Starbucks, 5, 10, 15 cents is going to be used to defeat marriage, can you do that? Answer is no. Biblically, there's no way a Christian can help support what is attacking God. I'm sorry, you got to find something like coffee to drink. Can't drink Starbucks and be biblically right on this thing. It's just a real simple principle.
We're going to have more on this in a future Brody File show over a decaf latte. Immigration reform now. When it comes to passing a big comprehensive bill, one of the keys in all of this is that many conservative evangelical leaders are actually pushing for it. I mean, you've got the Reverend Sammy Rodriguez, we call him Sammy here at the Brody File, Dr. Richard Land, Matthew Staver, and some of the folks that focus on the family, many more too. It does seem that evangelicals are more on board with immigration reform than ever before. I mean, if you look at the polls, close to 60% of evangelicals are okay with some sort of immigration reform. Now, that's something we asked Senator Rubio about this past week. Evangelical support for this, crucial in all of this? What have you seen from evangelical leaders?
Well, what I've seen, I think the biggest change has not been in the pulpit, it's been in the pews. You know, the folks that are attending church that maybe 5 years ago felt differently about this issue, now they're worshiping next to an illegal immigrant family, now they've met someone who's in this circumstance. So one thing is when 11 million is the statistic. The other thing is when one of those 11 million is your friend, a human being who you now know. You know they violated the law, but you see them as a father, as a husband, as a mother, as a worker, as a worshiper, some as a lover of Christ and a Christian, and you feel compassion for them. Our faith has always been about compassion, and it compels you to do something. Now we have an obligation to be responsible to our country and not do anything that hurts America. But we also, our faith calls us to compassion. You know, without compassion, if you took the word compassion or the principle of compassion out of the Bible, it would be in tatters because it's all over the place. So I think we have to measure, of course, that compassion with our obligations as policymakers. But I think that's why the evangelical support for this has been so critical.
That is Marco Rubio on the Brody File. You know, during this debate on immigration, we've heard a lot of talk from evangelical leaders and politicians that we should look to Matthew 25 as a reason to support immigration reform. Well, here is what Matthew 25:35 says, quote, "For I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you invited me in." Look, compelling words from the Bible to be sure, and all of this talk about Matthew 25 and immigration reform and biblical compassion leads us to this week's Brody File commentary. Look, the Brody File wants to be clear. We are all for biblical compassion. I mean, Jesus preached it and we believe it. No doubt that the compassion principle is an integral part of the evangelical mindset and the push behind immigration reform. We get that. That is great, but here's an observation and a word of caution. There's a danger in getting caught up in just this one verse in Matthew 25. I mean, there are many progressive evangelicals and some conservative ones too who get so wrapped up in the compassion verses that all of a sudden that becomes the focus of their Christianity. I mean, it ends up becoming all about good works and compassion for their fellow man, and trust me, that is so important, an integral part of the Christian walk, we get that, but what gets lost is focusing on why Jesus Christ came to earth in the first place. You see, He became man and died on the cross to give His body as a sacrifice for our sin. He became human to save a very sinful humanity. He died for you, He died for me, and He wants us to be in heaven with Him for all of eternity. Look, newsflash, Jesus didn't come to earth to pass immigration reform. He came to save us. And why do we need to be saved? We hear that a lot, save us, save us. Well, because the Bible says that every living human being has sinned, and that deserves God's judgment. And since God can't allow sin to go unpunished, something had to be done to save us from our sins. And that's why Jesus came to earth and why we need to be saved. We're back in a moment with the Oy Vey Moment of the Week.
When you're driving along and your cell phone rings, do your eyes instantly go off the road? Then you need to get a grip. Hi, David Jones here with the new GripGo, the most versatile hands-free mount that will instantly grip any phone for safe driving. Just attach the suction cup to your windshield or dash, and GripGo grabs your phone ultra fast that it peels right off. And don't worry, there's no sticky residue left behind. The 360-degree pivoting mount allows you to always get the perfect viewing angle.
It's even strong enough to grab and hold this expensive smartphone out the window, yet it comes right off with ease. That's the advantage of GripGo.
You can get the amazing GripGo with dashboard mount for only
$14.95.
We'll send you a second kit free. Just pay separate processing and handling. Get 2 complete GripGo systems for just $14.95.
To order GripGo for $14.95 plus processing and handling, call 1-800-709-5259 or order online at getgripgo.com.
Jim is 38, mortgage, married, 3 great kids. He wants to protect his family with a $500,000 term life insurance policy. What do you think it'll cost him? $100 a month? 60? 40? Actually, none of the above. Jim can get a $500,000 policy from a highly rated insurer for under $19 a month. His secret? SelectQuote. SelectQuote is impartial. They'll comparison shop the pick of insurance companies like these to give you a choice of your best prices. SelectQuote has great savings on term life for women, too. Jim's wife, Deidre, can get a $500,000 policy for under $16 a month. SelectQuote has helped make term life insurance affordable for hundreds of thousands of people since 1985. How about you? Just call this number or go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
All right, welcome back to the Brody File. Now, we have a first in Brody File history. Da-da, the trumpet or something like that. Do we have a sound effect? Great. We actually have a tie for this week's Oy Vey Moment of the Week. The tie is between MSNBC's Chris Matthews and MSNBC's Chris Matthews. Two Oy Gavolt moments, and here's the first where he talked about how he voted for Michael Steele in the past because he was black.
We don't have any African Americans in the United States Senate, which I think is a disgrace. You know, it's one of the reasons I voted for our friend Michael Steele when he ran, because I think we ought to have some.
Unbelievable. Then, in the same week, Matthews had this beauty about President Obama.
Why do they just assume evil on the part of Obama? I mean, he's raised his whole life has been crystal clear and clean as a whistle and transparent. We know his whole life through all the great, excellent education he's had, the good working, the pro bono work he's done throughout his life. He's never been a money grubber. He's never done anything wrong in his life, legally, ethically, whatever.
Barack Obama has never done anything wrong. Earth to Chris Matthews. I mean, do you think he's God? Oh, wait, no, I don't want to know the answer to that. Next week, by the way, we've got a great show for you. A whole 30 minutes with MSNBC's Joe Scarborough, the man conservatives love to hate. We hope to see you back next week for that. That does it for us. God bless everybody. Have a great week.